I will be reading from chapter 6 now, and this has to do with seeing loved ones before passing away. I am using my dad as an example. For everyone who is wondering about what is really going on when a loved one is talking about seeing family members and others passing away, I would like to share the experience I had with my dad before he passed away. Dad was diagnosed with terminal bladder cancer in July of 2006 at the age of 85. He lived in our home with my husband and myself. Since I had previous medical experience, I took care of my dad completely his last 8 months of life on this earth. I thank God that I had this very hard but wonderful opportunity to be with Dad before he passed away. While in the hospital after his surgery in July, he told me about an angel that appeared at his bedside wearing a white long gown. The angel smiled at Dad and just stood there for a minute and then vanished. Dad was not on any medication at the time besides his normal blood pressure meds. A couple of months after this, he told me that he had seen my mother and my brother Tom in his room. Mom passed away 22 years prior, and Tom passed away 21 years prior. Dad told me Tom was wearing a blue shirt, and Mom was in a white gown, and she looked young and beautiful. In December that year, while Dad was in the hospital again, and not on any medications again except for antibiotics, Dad was telling me about 3 very tall beings dressed in all black robes and hoods that were standing at his bedside just looking at him. They never spoke to him, but I knew exactly who they were and what they were doing there. I told Dad to rebuke them in the name of the Lord and tell them they had no right to be there. I told Dad not to fear them and to just pray to the Lord. It was after this time in December that Dad started telling me almost every day who he was seeing in his room until he passed away. His room was always filled with people, some even in military garments. He would see many children and little girls always in beautiful dresses. During his last hospitalization, while Dad was in the intensive care unit, I left the room for a few minutes to go and freshen up. When I came back into his room, he was looking directly at the doorway and had the biggest smile from ear to ear, and he seemed to be in conversation with someone. I asked Dad if there was someone else there in the room, and he shook his head, saying yes. He told me there was that same angel from the first time, and the angel was telling him that he would be back for Dad in 2 days. And Dad said, "No, not yet. I'm not ready." A few more days. This was on a Tuesday. That Saturday morning, 4 days later, my dad passed away. I am now reading from chapter 8, and I'm reading about a little girl's near-death experience at the age of around 8 years old. When Claudia was about 7 or 8 years old, she had an experience after receiving a childhood vaccine. She had to go to emergency room. When she came home from the emergency room, her mom let her sleep with her clothes on. Claudia remembers she went to sleep and found herself floating in the air between the bed and the ceiling. She was off to the side of the bed and was looking down at her body in the bed. Claudia said, "Oh, I'm wearing my purple turtleneck." The arm where she received the vaccine was bent. It looked like it was getting light outside, and she saw her parents checking in on her. Claudia just watched as she felt herself go higher and higher. She remembers going very high and that the room expanded to allow her to go higher. Her parents later told her that they kept checking on her throughout the night because they were afraid they were going to lose her. Claudia did not share this experience for approximately 20 years because she at first thought it was a dream. I have spoken with many people and their experiences with loved ones that would tell them similar stories before passing away. I believe that as our body is in the dying process and our spirits await its release from our physical body, prison so to speak, that a part of us is already able to see into the spirit dimension, and therefore the dying are able to see angels and other spirit beings that have passed on before them. I'm not saying that one's come to show himself or herself, as you would hear of people inferring that they see and speak with the dead. I'm talking about being able to see with spiritual eyes into another dimension, because the body is dying and the spirit is crossing over into the spirit realm. I do believe that God allows us to see with our spiritual eyes that which is spirit before we leave this earthly place, as a comforting time and not a time to be fearful. For those who are believers in Jesus, it is a time of peace, not fear. So you see, there is so much that can be said about the spirit realm and its reality. Thank you for allowing me to read to you. Thank you for tuning in to me again, and I hope you enjoyed these short readings, just a bit to show you about near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. I hope you enjoyed. Till next time, this is Erica Kimmick. The Spirit Says Come. Hello and welcome. My name is Erica Kimmick, and I am the author of the recently released book titled The Spirit Says Come.